Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, with another episode of Ask Dave. On the 30th of December, it's getting very close to the end of 2020, something I think we are all celebrating. 2021 will be with us on Friday. That's coming up soon. Today's short video is prompted by a query from David Morgan. David is studying for his technician, and he asks these questions. Hello, Dave. Great videos. I am studying for my technician license. My question is, will I get better reception if I use lower loss cable for my feed line? The answer is maybe. On HF, no, because the band noise floor is well above the minimum discernible signal for the radio. So if you have a little bit of attenuation in the feed line, it's not going to affect reception. It will affect transmission, however, and you should use a cable that is capable of handling the power out from your HF transceiver. That would be like RG8X for a 100-watt radio. Now, on VHF, that's a little different story. On VHF, you are working with signals that are down at the radio's noise floor sometimes. And if you've got a long run, you get more attenuation per foot on the smaller cable. So if you are in a position where you are in a repeater shadow, where it's hard to get the repeater, whatever it may be, you may want to put a stouter coax up there. Otherwise, if it's a fairly easy to hit repeater, you can even use RG8X with that. But something more like RG213 or LMR 400 would be more appropriate for a VHS/UHF antenna. 2 meters and 70 centimeters are the common two bands that you find with the two-band antennas, which are readily available for not very much money. Now he goes on to ask, I understand the importance for transmitting because there will be less attenuation when transmitting, yes, but does the same idea apply for better gain of other stations who are transmitting? As I just mentioned, for VHF, yes, for HF, no, because the noise floor of the band is so high that the fact that your minimum discernible signal goes up a little bit won't matter. Also, would getting an $80 Baofeng portable be a waste of money, or should I be looking at portables more in the $300 range that I will not outgrow? Is there one that you prefer in particular? I can't wait to listen in on the bands and then get on the air eventually. Okay, I'm going to give my standard statement on get your license before you get equipment. People get wrapped up in the equipment. They think things look cool. They read the ads and so on. They may be cool. But the plain fact of the matter is, I have personally, in my lifetime, seen too many people start to enjoy amateur radio, buy equipment, and then for whatever reason, they don't get their license. And then they're left with an expensive piece of equipment that even if they sell it on eBay as nearly new, they're going to lose 20-30% or more off of that, because hams, when they want new equipment, they want it new, they don't want it used. So used equipment sells for a lot less than new equipment. And another reason for that is people don't know what they're getting when they get used equipment. There is a lot of equipment out there where, in essence, you're buying someone else's problem. So there are a lot of reasons that people might have to set aside their quest for getting a license. The birth of a child, a marriage, moving to a new town, starting a new job, going back to school. All of these things like that will take away the time that you had. And if you get your license and get the equipment, fine, you can figure out a way to use it. If you haven't got your license yet and suddenly your time is not yours, which can happen easily, it will save you a lot of money. So please, please get your license, or at least pass your exam, before you get equipment. Now, a lot of people get their tech and then work on tech equipment. There are two kinds of tech equipment. There are the handhelds, like this one. Handhelds come in 4 flavors. FM only, FM plus DMR, which this one is. That's digital mobile radio. FM plus D-Star, which is the Kenwood and the ICOM way of doing digital. And FM plus C4FM, which is the Yaesu way of doing it. So there's 3 digital standards that don't intercommunicate. FM intercommunicates with anything. This is a DMR radio, but it also does FM very nicely. It's very nice radio, by the way, this is here. So you see, the problem is, what you want to get, probably, after you get your license, is the kind of digital that's being used most in your area. And believe me, now, if you're in a big metro area, you will find all 3 kinds of digital, all right? I should mention ICOM and Kenwood are D-Star, Yaesu is C4FM, Elenco and the Chinese radios are DMR, okay? And there are reasons for that, but mostly political. Now, besides the handheld, you can get what's called a mobile radio. This is a mobile right here. It's ostensibly designed to fit in your car or truck or whatever, but it can just as easily be a home station or a base station. This happens to be an FM only radio that is made by Yaesu. It's the FT 7800. Very nice little radio, 50 watt on 2 meters. And right now, what I have up in pride of place in my station here is the Anytone 578 UV. And this is the D878 UV, which is from Anytone. If you're going to buy an Anytone radio, get it from Bridgecom Systems. That's the American distributor, and they can provide support and training, which you can't get from other vendors. Even though the other vendors might be cheaper. Well, I guess that's why they wouldn't do it. Okay, so those are the VHF types of things. Again, if you're going to get VHF equipment, get the kind of VHF equipment that the other people around you are using. You need to become a member of a club. You may have to do some club shopping. Go from club to club until you find one that you feel comfortable in, where you feel accepted, because it will be the other club members that you'll mostly talk to on the air when you talk on handhelds. Now let's go on with this letter. I'm looking at the ICOM 7300 and the 7600. I can't seem to decide. Again, you're in no position to decide. You haven't got your license yet. You haven't got any amateur radio experience under your belt. The reference station for HF is the 7300. And the reason that I recommend the 7300, the ICOM 7300, is because it is a radio that will take you several years to outgrow. Okay, now the 7610 costs significantly more than the 7300. It gives you some extra features that you will use from time to time. It really does. It's a contest/DXing radio with special features for chasing after contest stations and DX stations you can barely hear. It's got some pretty exotic stuff in it. It's like if you wanted to become a pilot, do you step into the cockpit of a 747 and say, let's go? Or do you do what actually happens? You start out in some little Cessna trainer or something at some flight school and work your way up the ladder in terms of complexity and added complexity and added complexity and added complexity and so on. The reason I picked the 7300 radio as the reference station radio, if you go to dcastler.com/reference, you'll find the reference radio, all the different parts and pieces, the antenna, the cable, the power supply, all of those different types of things will all be there. I recommend that because it's a radio you won't grow out of quickly. It's easy to use. It has a wonderful human-computer interface, and it is a computer with an RF section. It's just a great radio. Now, I have a radio that's sitting up here in the corner, the black one. That is my Yaesu Ftd X3000, which is a very, very nice, but not cheap, radio. And I had purchased that and was extremely happy with it. It is, however, not a beginner's radio. So when I started the program of the reference station, I got the ICOM 7300. I actually bought one. I also bought the power supply, even though I have other ways of getting 12 volts. I bought the reference antenna, the MFJ 2010. I'm trying to set all this up to be just like the reference station. So when I do a video on HF, it will be about the reference station. I recommend, as a new general, I'm looking ahead to when you pass your general, to get the 7300 because you will not outgrow it for several years. It has many, 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 many features. Calling it a beginner's radio is a bit of a stretch, but it can be because it's like a camera. You get a fancy camera, and with all the bells and whistles on it, it still has, if you set the knobs just right, it's a point-and-shoot camera. I'm using right now a Lumix. It's a G7, DMC G7. That's a camera that a lot of YouTubers use. It's really designed for video rather than just normal still pictures, although it does a fabulous job on still pictures. However, I'm using this in point and shoot mode right now. There's a little button I can push up here to have it just start taking video, and it does everything automatically, all the exposure, all the focus, everything. When I had my studio in the other room, which has since been dismantled so we can turn it back into a guest room, I had green screen, I had lighting, I had everything in there, and I had to use all of the special features on the camera for white balance, getting the white balance with the fluorescent lights, and all of that sort of thing. It's a lot easier to do point and shoot. The 7300 will do point and shoot. So will the 7600. But there's a lot of other things to stumble over in the 7600. You may want to, after you find out what it is about ham radio you particularly enjoy, you will, in 10 years, select a next radio. I had my Tentec Jupiter, which is the one with the green screen up there. You can just see it at the top, right there. I had that radio for over 10 years. It was my main HF radio. At the time, it was just the cat's meow, and of course, with time, it got further and further behind in what it would do. I used the 7610 for a while. It was loaned to me. Brad Rich, N6GR, loaned me his. And you can get very attached to it if you have a lot of experience with that sort of stuff. I recommend the 7300 as a radio for your first 10 years. Okay, do I buy the less expensive transceiver or buy the one I am likely to hold on to for a longer period of time as I get more experienced? Now, here's the thing. In 10 years, with the 7300 exploring absolutely every feature it has and using it to the max, and you're ready for your next radio, the 7610 will be out of date. And it will be time to get whatever their new radio is, the 7660 or whatever it is. Okay, because time and technology march on. And so that's why I recommend the 7300. He says, thanks so much from David Morgan. He says, get well. You've been my mentor through your videos. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So there are, if you go to ke0og.net/training, you'll find a list on my website of all the technician videos. I recommend you use that list as your checklist for which videos you've watched and which chapters you've read in the book. The videos go section for section with the ARRL license manuals, okay? Now, I would also, you can also go to ke0og.net/general for the general. It'll give you a list of all the general videos, and the same with /extra. Now, you may ask, why didn't I make it the tech videos /tech instead of training? Because at the time, I had no idea that I would be doing general and extra class, and I thought this was just something I was going to use locally to teach tech classes. Well, YouTube has a mind of its own. So I ended up here. I've just gone over 78,000 subscribers, and thank you all very much. Remember that if you're a subscriber, you're an Augie. An Augie is a follower of OG, which is the suffix on my call sign, so Augies. And so I will say to all of you, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. It's already New Year's Eve in, well, not yet. Let's see, 31 December. It will be New Year's Eve very shortly. So I'm going to say Happy New Year to you. I hope that you will find that 2021 will be the year of redemption from the COVID-19 virus, and that we will all get our vaccination shots. Every one of us, all 8 billion of us in the world, will get those shots, and we will be done with this pandemic, which has killed more people already in the United States than we lost in World War II. It's just been unbelievable. So let's think positive, think ham radio, think getting your license, think getting on the air and having a blast. So please check out dcasler.com/support for various ways that you can help fund this channel. Also, please subscribe and click like. And until we next meet, 73.